Hello, and welcome to yet another episode of the Conversation Capital. It is the Get Ready With Me episode. I'll be honest, it was one of those days where the guests arrived really early. And so I had to do my makeup before while we were setting up the cameras and stuff. So technically I've got makeup on. But I'm going to posho in the meantime while we're doing comments and stuff and just see our way through. But this Get Ready With Me at the end of the day is quite overwhelming, Neboga.
Yes.
Because we are bushed. Right?
At the end of the day, it's like...
Are you not mic'd up for a Get Ready With Me?
He's going to join
are
soon.
you gonna skip over to there? Okay. Anyway,
Gavin is
Bonga-
going to join us soon, by the way.
Bonga, how are you doing?
I'm good, girl. How are you?
I'm awesome. I'm tired, but
Good.
I'm good. For you and I knowing that tomorrow's street day, we slept quite late.
Yeah.
Yes, rookie moves here. We're acting like we're amateurs. Give thumbs up if you're good. That was a thumbs up from Given. Okay, my name is Urshta Mariani. This is the Conversation Capital. I was going to say Get Ready With Me. This is the Conversation Capital, the Get Ready With Me episode. By the way, Given was sharing with Bong and I that you can now listen to us via podcast on YouTube Music. So if you want to just listen to the podcast, check out, go to...
Throughout the day.
Yeah, throughout the day. It also just helps our views. So make sure that you're supporting the channel. Didn't Penuel tell them to donate? Has anybody donated, Given?
Not that I know of.
Oh, Shebandla. King Kanti.
But you donate, man. But about Conversation Capital.
Bararatani.
Kind of what was the name again?
What?
Of our people.
Oh,
I remember
we
in that
should've-
episode.
Yeah, people came through to say we are the conversationalists.
Someone was like, we are TCC.
And then somebody else said, no, we don't want a cult. So please, can we just keep it to viewers of the Conversation Capital?
I actually love that.
Yeah, somebody else said that. You guys should go check it out. We had an episode with Penuel. Then Penuel said, guys, come up with a name for yourselves. And then, people just came through to give...
We are TCC fam. I felt like that
TCC
comment
family.
was saying, hey, we already have a name. Don't come here and do your
TCC
things.
family.
Yes.
Don't do your thing.
Don't do your things. We have a name here. We know who we are.
Yes.
So while we're on the topic of comments, we're gonna read Zoe Jeza, and this was on the episode where we spoke about just some of the dangers people face in public hospitals or some of the fears. So Zoe Jeza goes on to say, so sorry you had a negative experience. I just gave birth in a public hospital in Vosloorus in January. Oh my goodness, I was so scared going there, but I must say it was something else. The nurses are doing their level best at their jobs. More than anything, they make it easier for pregnant moms and create a safe space for them. The environment was conducive for all parent moms to be at, very clean and neat, as if I was in a private hospital. I was 11 months, 2 days pregnant with a baby weighing 4.5 kgs, and I did a C-section for the first time. And it was a terrible, traumatic experience and still recovering from it. But the nurses are their best. Big ups to them. The doctors are doing their jobs, but the nurses need their flowers while they are still here serving the community.
I love this comment as a daughter of a nurse. It was nice. It was nice to see nurses get their flowers, because even when that short came out with Dana and I was speaking the story around the police station, I felt so bad because I don't want to be those people that are making a situation worse by always speaking
Negatively.
negative, But sometimes it is what it is, But I don't want to be that person who's constantly saying, hey, government hospitals. So to see somebody coming to say, whoa, I'm sorry you guys had bad
I had a
experiences,
positive.
but let me actually shed a different story. Let me shed some light on this situation. That was nice. That was really nice. So I really like that comment. Who is it?
It is Zoe Jeza.
Zoe Jeza. Shout out to you, girl.
But I
Yeah.
think that's the problem, right? We do it with stores as well in customer service. We only make an effort to complain when we receive really bad service. Which what we don't realize is that it sort of swallows those who are actually trying their best to give us good experiences. And perhaps also a lot of nurses go through the same experience.
Yes, and it can be quite an exhausting experience, I can imagine. Where, your efforts aren't recognized because everybody's so focused on, I didn't say what's in your pop.
And the fact that we bundle them up, we don't say some nurses or this. It's always like, yo, public servants, nurses, this, And then Jason Finger this. I remember you were quite interested in this comment because it just spoke to how...
What's his name?
Jason Finger. I'll go into the comment. But I remember why
Yeah, that
this
name
comment
sounded very dodgy.
Yeah, it did.
I remember why you screenshotted this comment, because it was a TCC regular, clearly, who was reprimanding the person for using the word rubbish, and you just wanted to speak about how positive our people are.
Yes.
So let me just go into the comment. Jason Finger says, Ursula is such a good listener. You can tell from her facial expressions that she felt like Penuel was absolutely incorrect, yet she never interjected. She patiently and respectfully listened. I love this podcast. It generally respects all opinions. So before saying that she felt Penuel was absolutely incorrect, he edited that to fix it, because initially what he said was she didn't want to show she's listening to rubbish.
Yes,
remember?
yes.
And then the Saudi Mzansi says rather something she doesn't subscribe to instead of garbage. But hey, we were raised differently and we have different experiences.
Yes.
Then
Saudi came through to say,
Yes.
welcome to TCC and this is how we do it here.
Yes.
And I liked it. Yeah.
And Jason Finger went on to say, thank you for this. I've edited the comment. Apologies.
Yes.
So you were just, go on.
I enjoy the love. I enjoy very peaceful. I enjoy it when people understand that it's a conversation. We're genuinely trying to hear each other out. Even what I've learned with the whole facial expressions thing, because I've heard so many comments around my face. My face and what I'm thinking. People read my mind.
Yeah.
And not necessarily. Sometimes they do get it right, where I was thinking, oh, nonsense. And then there are other times where I'm like, somebody went on to say, no, but she didn't necessarily disagree with what he was saying. And the truth is, because the conversation we were having with Penuel had so much duality to it.
Yeah.
I understood the truth, the element that it is good to have kids younger. And kids in and of themselves can be something to be celebrated as much as money. He speaks of how people celebrate having cows, people celebrate having money, and I celebrate having kids. And I said, that can be a measurement of your own wealth. It's not that I was disagreeing with every single thing. So sometimes when people say, Ursula's face was saying, I'm like, don't do it. You actually...
Won't do me.
Yeah.
Won't do me. So it's funny because
idea.
one of the people who made that comment actually screenshotted your face and sent it to Nessa.
Oh, is it? Is it to me?
To me, yes.
To me, many people, even my people sent me recorded parts, like your face here. I'm like, what was it saying?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
It's like,
but I've gotten it my whole life.
They're reading into your face what they are feeling.
Yes, absolutely. But I must be honest, it's something I've gotten my whole life. Like I remember there was a time for a very long time I wasn't drinking alcohol, and then my friends would say whenever people around me drink, I'm like, and that's so true, because I grew up with people drinking alcohol around me all the time. I didn't care. I just knew that I had a goal and I wanted to be focused, and I didn't want to I was very like Eric Thomas, stay focused. I'm still that person, and that's why I go long sabbaticals without indulging in whatever. But it reminded me of that era of my life where I'm like, oh, this face thing is so interesting. Sometimes people get it very right, but other times I'm like, no, I was listening.
This links to a conversation we had about nuances in conversations, because that's part of it, facial expressions. Yes. So you were saying people will read a snippet and conclude on a matter when there's greater context.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've definitely learned that through TCC shorts, through any shorts. And I've learned to also correct myself, because I've been somebody who goes off on a short. And, you can now quote a study and whatever, when it was like a little 3-minute reel on Instagram, which in and of itself can be a very dangerous thing to do, But the other day I had a moment where I understand. We surely can't expect people to go through every episode.
Yes.
Because right now we're building on previous episodes, what we're chatting about now, ne? Surely we don't expect people to go to the first Get Ready. I don't go to the first Get Ready with me. You understand? Surely we don't expect people to fine-tooth comb every conversation, because in and of itself, that's dangerous. And why it's dangerous is because then you hold me hostage to what I thought 2 years ago. We started this podcast 2 years ago. There are things that I think differently of now, and so what happens is when people want to pull out files, so there's a balance to it. The balance being, sometimes you take up too short of a snippet to understand what is being said. And then other times you exaggerate, or you overly, you hold on too long to what I thought 5-6 years, even a minute ago. Maybe not a minute, but we're ever evolving.
Yeah, I think that one it's a two-sided coin, because by their nature, shorts are extracted from a context, right? So it's not necessarily, so you're bringing up the point of, don't hold me hostage to what I said so many months or so many years ago,
or an opinion that I could have had that
exactly.
I maybe no longer have. Yeah.
While at the same time also looking at it within reason, that we the ones who cut the short.
Yes.
So you can make your judgments. But now here's the other thing, right? Just as much as the ones who comment on the short say things like, do your research, but you didn't do your research and go and watch the full episode.
Wow.
So this is a very two-sided coin, right?
Yes.
It's not a lot. I mean, you can have your opinion on a short. Kudos. It's great. I don't think someone making a bad comment that doesn't understand the context is going to ruin us. But I think we all need to keep in mind that if you're going to demand this of us, at the very least, now I look at yourself and say, okay, I know that this is extracted from something
else.
So let me go find that something.
But some people actually don't know that this is extracted from something else. Somebody wrote, please start a podcast.
Yes. Yes.
You're watching a short from the podcast and you're like, I like your opinions, please start a podcast.
Oh my gosh.
What do you mean?
So they really think we put lights, cameras,
and everything just for like a 2-3 minute segment.
That's interesting.
But I just want to zoning into this, what you're chatting about, given when I want to talk about highlighting the deep Africa. There are 2 times where I can think you just didn't listen to the whole thing and you spewed so much hate, which was very unnecessary. Deep Africa is at the top of that list.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Firstly, you're married to a Congolese woman.
Yes, yeah.
And
I don't want to be the guy who says I have a black friend.
Okay. But if you listen to more context around the different things we talk about, and you explained it so well on Instagram to say, guys, contextually, we're at the southern tip.
Yes.
Of Africa. But if you understood, given the things that, like we spoke about it now, things that I don't bother to correct, like
because
recently,
you know him,
because I know him, and I take for granted that when Given says something, I don't have to be like pause the whole context. Sometimes if I think of it, but other times we're having such genuine conversations that it doesn't get all the way there.
Yeah.
Just this most recent Get Ready With Me that was released before this one, where I'm wearing the black t-shirt and the cornrows.
Yes.
No, not that episode. The one of Karen. Then I talk about the black female experience, and then you say, frame the experiment with the scar, blah blah blah. And you tell the whole story around the scar, and experiment was done.
Yeah.
And I understood it. I didn't correct it because I understood in that context. You're saying, I hear you. Have you thought that maybe sometimes victim mentality could come into place?
Yes.
It wasn't negating the whole other experience, but that's because I know Give, and I know Give always acknowledges the struggles of women, and I know Give always acknowledges the struggles of black. So I didn't feel the need to recap to say, by the way, the person that is currently making this comment is actually, because, and we forget that element as well too. The other one,
that's a good point.
Yeah, the other one was when this is the third example I'm giving, was when I said South Africans need to travel more in a Get Ready With Me. I was reflecting on comments, and then somebody went on like, Ursula can be very biased when it comes to like foreigners and what. The person was clearly very upset with me.
Yes.
And I realized that I was reflecting on the previous episode where I explained the full context. I explained the duality of the local economy not being protected by the government, hence that rage is understandable, and if you had taken a moment to watch that, you would have understood the context. But is it fair of me to expect you to go through all the TCC episodes to get to there? So there is that grace that I must have. But sometimes I look at the comment and I'm like, yeah, you weren't listening to the full thing.
Yeah.
You weren't listening to, because this comment, we're responding to a comment based on an episode where I discussed over an hour a full concept, and now here you are just taking one sentence and really hyper sensationalizing and blowing it out of proportion. Anyway, yeah, that's my 2 cents on that.
Okay.
I hope we're gonna circle back to Deep Africa because I wanted to say
No,
please.
on that.
This is the time.
Okay. So I really love the context that you gave around some of the things we say that people tend to take out of context, which is totally fine, because I was thinking right now that the internet is a public space, right? It's like you literally going now in Joburg CBD and taking a mic and a speaker and you start speaking to everyone there. Not everyone is going to sit throughout that whole conversation. So there are those, out of grace, we need to understand that they're not going to catch everything and they're going to make an opinion based on the little that we cut. I think what's even more frustrating, I suppose, is that even if they had context, it wouldn't change their opinion, right? Yeah, even if there are some people who watch the full episode and then they'll make a comment and you're like, but like, did you listen to the full episode though? But anyways, yeah. So particularly coming to the thing of...
Why do you think people do that, Giv?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I can't really think of an exact reason that answers everyone's reason for doing that. Yes, but I think it's just generally some people watch until that point and then they get triggered and go head straight to the comments. Maybe not having the patience to finish the whole episode. Or maybe some people it's just a matter of... Actually, I think it might be that. Because why else would you make either that or the context didn't matter to you? It's just that this was said. It doesn't matter in what context was it said. Yeah, but yeah, perhaps maybe someone can also state in the comment where there was a time where you made a comment while watching a video.
And then you
realized, oh no, wait.
Okay.
This is actually what was being said. Because we've had a few people delete comments.
Absolutely. And I love to catch those ones because I'm like, oh no, pota. Thank you.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah, we've had people delete comments, and it would be interesting to find out like what happens during the process of you then deciding, no, I need to delete this. Maybe it was heated at the moment, and then by the time you finished the episode, you were like, oh,
that's what they meant.
Exactly. So anyways, in discussing
and
this,
not that every time it will be an hour.
Yes.
You could get to the end of the episode and be like,
yes, delete a comment.
And that's okay.
Yes, exactly.
And that's okay. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So I just wanted to touch on the fact that for me, and I love the way you prefaced this, Ursh, talking about the thing at Deep Africa. Now, I wasn't even thinking of, like what does saying Deep Africa mean?
Yes.
And the thing is, it's one of those things where I promise you can have a person write an academic paper on just what I said there and then making inferences of what it says about me. Like, how could you, like people were saying, and especially like you had these people who'd huddle up in a comment, right? Someone would comment Deep Africa ? And then there'd be tons of people in the replies.
Absolutely.
And then I'd like they'd say, yeah, South Africans love to. And the thing that really shocked me is the fact that in that not even in the full video, in that very short clip, I was speaking ill of South Africa, saying we don't honor our marriages. So by virtue of that short context, I wasn't saying the rest of Africa has this or that.
You couldn't have possibly thought that you were bashing the rest of Africa.
Exactly.
Yeah,
like
but you
I was
Deep
bashing
Africa and you shut down.
Exactly. Which, you know what, I have to be fair, and there's someone I responded to in saying this. I said this too as well, that I get it. Because it would happen to me as well, where I hear one thing that a person says, and because they use that term, it triggers me. Like, why did you use that? Right? Perhaps I wouldn't put it in the comment. I'd continue listening to everything that they're saying and try to contextualize it. But I do get it. But at the same time, it made me wonder, like, is the fact that I'm South African going to mean that I need to tread carefully while speaking about my fellow Africans? And to me, keep in mind, when you're talking about your siblings, right? And now I'm talking about your siblings as an individual. You're comfortable. You feel like I can say this because it's not that you intentionally say rude things, but you say things that if someone else were to hear them not being and understanding that context, they can use it against you. I hope that
Yes.
makes sense, right? And I remember
So
this.
does the space that you were in that was allowing you freedom?
I hope what I'm trying to
No,
explain
what you're saying
makes
makes
sense.
absolute sense. But I will say, short answer is indeed, South Africans do not have the privilege of assuming brotherhood with the rest of Africa
I
simply
get
because of the
you.
concentration of xenophobic attacks and this and this and this here. It has made it extreme, and that's why it was very touchy.
I
you said
get
it.
that. I completely
I
do
saw
get
the
that.
sensitivity around. In fact, jokes aside, I was very saddened because it pointed towards something much bigger.
Deeper.
You know, that there is definitely a disconnect with South Africans and the rest of the continent
Yes.
because of the things that have happened, and it's sad.
I
and
get
it's
you.
sad, yeah.
I totally get you. And we've had the conversation on around xenophobic attacks around South Africa, but it is as a footnote, and I sincerely say this as just a footnote, that it is important for all of us to remember that atrocities like that are usually done by a minority of people.
Yes.
Not to say that you
Yes.
don't get more people who are
Yes.
frustrated. They just never do something like
Yes.
that. Right? They
Yes.
never do something like that.
Yes, yeah. Oh, I love what you're saying, and it's always it shows us that the minority can sometimes represent the whole, and it's unfair.
Yeah.
You know, because you caught flack for the minority.
Exactly.
You know, you were speaking as somebody. It's like you were not given the benefit of the doubt.
Ah, perfect.
You were not given
Perfect.
the benefit of the doubt in that. As to let me hear what he's saying. People didn't even get to the end of the sentence. It was South Africans have started.
And I do agree, with those who say I could have chosen to say Central Africa, East Africa, West Africa,
Other parts of Africa.
Other parts of Africa. I could have chosen any of those words, but do also keep in mind that I wasn't in a position where I was trying to be
And you weren't reading from a script that you've
Exactly.
had time to
To
think about.
think.
We're chatting.
Exactly.
It's happening in real time, baby.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And it,
yeah.
it just like even in relationships sometimes. And I remember about the person that said this to me is, sometimes I feel like you're holding a red pen to what I'm saying, and I'm just chatting with you. It was a very good friend of mine to say, but you expect me to nitpick my words, and I can't. I'm having a conversation with you in real time, and give me the benefit of the doubt if I haven't positioned it the way you expect. Trust that my heart for you is good.
Yes.
And I love you.
Yes.
Now I'm speaking very personal. But, you know, it pointed back to that. Like, if you had taken a beat to give me the benefit of the doubt that I'm speaking to you guys as siblings, literally just referring to geographically where the
Yes.
that's
yes.
all.
Yeah, that's
You know?
basically it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, this reminded me because you were speaking about your intention in that moment was just language. This reminds me of cancel culture, why people say we're a bit harsh. You know,
Yes, yeah.
was that person meaning to be this particular way?
Absolutely.
Do we use it as a moment to teach or learn, or you know, that reminded me of people who speak about showing empathy to people before we cancel them. You know,
I hear what you're saying.
because
I
it
hear
could
what
be the
you're saying.
intention was not malicious.
And I
Yes,
must be honest,
yes.
though, with me, I've been challenged a lot. I've recently been chatting with a friend who, like, we were chatting about how he was like, but where does it stop? Where does our leniency stop? And he was explaining there's an organization now in the States, I think. Now there's this, you know, we need to talk about fact checking again on
Yes,
this episode.
yeah,
I'd love
yeah.
to chat about it with like on air. We spoke about it off air, but yeah, we'll get there. So basically what I'm getting at is that this is not fact. It was a chat that I was having with a friend, but he was telling me about men loving boys, an organization, something along those lines, men loving boys, and basically what we would call pedophiles justifying how I am in love with them and they're in love with me.
Oh yes, there's a TED talk about
Yeah,
that.
and who are you to say that? So this part of like, where do we draw the line with regards to when we should be harsh and be like, yay, this is non-negotiable,
Yeah.
that is wrong, murder is wrong, pedophilia is wrong, versus let's listen again. What was being said? What's the context? Where does this person come from? What were they actually trying to say? Maybe they
Yes.
used the wrong wording. You know, where do we draw the line with regards to being gracious and sensitive versus now we need to crack the whip
Yes.
and say this is absolutely wrong.
Yeah, and I totally get that your question there, or rather what you're putting forward. And it's especially easy on the internet to draw the whip. Like it's especially easy.
Yes.
It's like it feels there
Yes.
are no consequences.
Yes.
It's not like Given is gonna come and say what I meant by Deep
Yes.
Africa is
Yes.
this, and that. I
Yes.
can't defend myself. The
Yes.
short is out.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's a very, very
And the fact
good
that you
point.
cut the shorts, Fred.
Exactly.
Do you understand that the intentionality was so pure that you weren't even like, oh, maybe I could
might get into trouble
for this, because that's how
Yes.
pure your heart for it was.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, we could talk about this one all day. I want to, highlight. I mentioned now briefly just the verification process, and because this morning you and I and Bonga were on the group, we were just talking about there's an episode that we had, and we had to take down the episode because we soon found out that the person that we had brought on wasn't who we thought they were, and so it left us feeling very vulnerable in that I think the reality that we are 3 friends that all have day jobs and have gone into this thing of like sharing opinions, trying to bring out education and knowledge. Same week now, somebody, a lecturer, used our content and said to the class, hey guys, I'm giving you guys a link to a YouTube channel. I want you guys to watch this episode. And the note there, somebody took a screenshot, watch carefully and we will discuss next week. I said, watch our episode carefully, But it just goes that we are really in the space where we're trying to bring very educational content.
Yes,
So it
we have a
really
huge
broke our
responsibility.
heart. Yes, we've got a huge responsibility and we're aware. It broke our heart to see that somebody had come on in the pretext of something else, and then somebody else on Facebook alerted us to say, hey, do you know that this person actually goes by this name and has committed these crimes, and then we started doing a little bit of more research ourselves. And the thing is, we didn't catch earlier, we tried to vet people as best, but because the person was moving under a different name, and so we were really sad. And this happened a while ago. It was over a year now. It happened a while ago. But I just said, we need to come back to the drawing board and say, guys, we're trying our best. We're working really hard to bring you as factual as possible. And when we slip up or when it hurts us too, we are trying by all best to, by all means, there are certain episodes we have not aired.
Yes.
Exactly.
Because the guest has sat there and we've said, hey, these are not facts.
Yes.
And to our, detriment sometimes, because then we go a week without an episode.
Exactly.
Really it's come to our detriment because we know how important consistency is with regards to growing. But when we sit and as a team, we're like, hey guys, we can't air that one. And so we think we've caught every person out. And then sometimes, in fact, only once now, we've slipped up and we've withdrawn an episode where we're like, no, this doesn't represent, especially after. So first of all, if you guys, and don't come here with, she's a side chick. No, real fundamental truth where you feel this is actually quite problematic and this person, share with us, alert us. We would love to know. And Luena, if you're conscious, stay out of our DMs. Stop trying to come to the show. So I just thought I really wanted to share that because, I felt the heaviness when we were chatting about this one, that this thing has really burdened us for over a year. And we really should just say, hey guys, we're also trying.
We're just thankful it didn't blow up.
Yes.
Or
Yeah, it wasn't one of the episodes that I think it probably even had less than 1,000 views by the time we were pulling it down.
Yes,
because it's a while ago. We were still quite a baby. And I think we've all been very sensitive since then, double checking and triple checking the people that come onto here. And so I just thought I would release that, so that we no longer carry that heaviness with us in the group. Yes, another comment.
Yes, there was a nice comment on our Karen episode. Yes. The person is AMYK. The person says, I must say, I completely disagree with your understanding of what a Karen is. A person who demands a high quality of service and is always willing to complain is not a Karen in my view. My own definition of a Karen is someone who assumes an authority they do not have, and then an authority they do not have, and then proceeds to enforce rules that do not exist. These people are the worst because they believe they are doing the right thing and that they are acting from a place of altruism. For example, a Karen is the type of person who doesn't work for the police or any parking enforcement, but will come and argue with you about where you are not supposed to park, and then will invent some rule that you are breaking. And when you question them, like, who are you to tell me this, then they will call someone and lie about you, threatening them, etc. The issue with the gold ring speaks to a problem of a lot of women suffer from. they are not willing to say, I do not know, or I do not have the answer. Instead, they create a story in their head that they themselves end up believing and will destroy people's lives based on incorrect recollection of events, or simply not remembering or not knowing. Basically, if you do not know or do not remember, say that and stop being a perpetual victim. Okay. On the Karen one, I thought that was an interesting assessment.
No, it was. And to be honest, when I started reading it, I read it in a very Karen voice. I'm like, here comes the Karen.
She's Karening in our comments.
I'm Karening and non-Karenist. No, it was funny. Like, and as soon as you shared, like, oh, this one we should share. I do think, initially, it carried that kind of weight, and I think it's been trivialized indeed. And so she was really pulling it back to say, guys, a Karen is, don't just take it to somebody who's complaining about customer service.
I think this person was very close to what you were saying.
Yeah.
Because you were saying every weekend, a little music, then it's not an issue. But then if you go overboard, as if we do this every weekend, and like they said, you invent rules that do not exist. Yeah.
No,
that
she came back to, like, this is serious. Don't trivialize it down to somebody that. So yeah, thanks for sharing that with us. What's the name?
Yeah, the person has a weird name, AMYK. You know those people, but it's simply symbols.
Hopefully you watch this. We're really grateful. That was a dope
to ring you back in on the criteria.
The criteria
it's bigger than just
and the seriousness.
Yes.
Yeah, because what happens is then we start throwing around the term and then we make it a very light thing when we actually just mean somebody who's very pedantic with customer service. And
I really appreciate the comment, and I really appreciate, which is one of the things we said, that I was saying that I love how the internet is very clear on what a Karen is. And I think maybe that might have been the frustration for the commenter as well. Like, because then you can gaslight people, right? You're a Karen.
You're a Karen.
So it's very... I'm going to zoom in right at this point.
When I see this site, I see someone that gaslights. When I look this way, I don't see someone that gaslights into thinking I'm a Karen. Yes,
So that absolutely does happen, and we do agree with you. And I don't think we were focused much on the definition of a Karen, but yeah, we definitely did touch on it as well. I think what we were trying to do is more highlight the experiences of people who have faced Karens. We used a few examples, like, you playing with a skateboard at a particular park and someone, just because they don't like it.
Yes.
Exactly. But I think they definitely had more time to think about the definition.
No, I bang what's a shame.
Yeah, no shame. That one exactly.
But we appreciate.
Exactly.
We really do appreciate it.
And on the same episode, this is another person who has a user and then a lot of alphabets. The person says, anyone who has been in an interracial relationship relates. It's bizarre how when I was with a white ex, the treatment we got at restaurants was top notch in comparison to now with my current. One way I make sure I get good service is not engaging in vernac and use slang. That way the relationship remains strictly professional. Sure. So the fact that I walk in here and I'm here to get a service.
Imagine. You know what, guys? I actually wanted to share this when we were shooting the Karen episode. We were at a resort of some sort it's a place where you do game drives, and they have these beautiful tree houses. So the chef makes us food, and then the waiter brings the food. So now the thing is, the waiter, when you get, and I completely get what this person is saying, and I think this is one of those experiences. On our first night there, the waiter spoke to us in Zulu, right? So I engage with them in Zulu. We engage with her in Zulu, and then later on, the chef makes us food, and then she brings the food and then goes back. When she goes back, the chef tells her to tell us that the fries he made us were too little. Would we like them to add more? And then she comes to us and she's like, yeah, yazi chef uthi lama chips enu mancane wara uthi nginibuza ukuthi nifuna amanye.
Wara.
Wara wara. You know, it literally felt like, I mean, guys, I'm talking about this place is at the Kruger National Park. Right
Guys,
outside.
I've never been to Kruger. Sorry. Yes.
Exactly, literally just across the road from Kruger, where you do the game drives at Kruger National Park, right? You drive there and you can see elephants walk by. So you can imagine that this is a premium place. Like she's wara-waring us, and I'm busy thinking to myself, look,
no need to go to listen to Kazulu.
exactly, and I
True.
get what
that
they're
one I agree with.
saying.
One. Lina, sometimes when I
Really?
get to a place, it depends on my mood. Given's already like Nangu carrot. It depends on my mood. But there are times where I hong last number, you know? And then there are times where kimoto shame.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
It really depends on my mood. But there are times where I know if here I whip out the sutu, I'm not going to get treated the way I need to be treated.
Exactly.
Ish. Why is life like that?
I remember I experienced that at a golf club. I was there doing a work thing, and you know, it's that irritating thing I was discussing. I think I might have been the very same episode, like that irritating thing where you can see the treatment with the other guests.
Oh yes.
And then when you get to the front,
It's
and you're
very
like, "How
annoying.
manje? What's with the change?" And that's when you start bringing out your English, and now you can see the shift. And guys, and I hope this is not misunderstood. Like what I'm not trying to say that it should be that way or English is better than Zulu, but unfortunately that's what we tend to find. Like that when you're speaking English, the service all of a sudden changes. I think the expression here is that it's sad that you have to
to that
do
extent,
that.
yeah.
Exactly. For the good service. Yo.
And then on the episode with Penuel, Garabelo says, every time I pass by this primary school near where I live, I would see white parents, moms waiting for their kids before the school is even out because they trust their husbands and they are at work working hard to support their families, whereas black kids depend on transport to get home because both the mom and the dad are at work. With African black men, they cheat and spend their money on other women, girlfriends and stuff and not support their families. That is why black women need to
Doesn't
work,
she know that black men don't cheat anyway?
need a job, so that should their marriage or relationship not work, they know they can provide for their kids and themselves. But that's why black women need to work, because you black men cheat and can leave the family.
Now I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah.
This sounded like very much a reflection of somebody's personal experiences because white men cheat.
Yeah, I was also like
White men
to
cheat.
say white men don't cheat or black men are like this.
But I hear the element that Penyo was talking about, like in the Islam culture. And cheating is different there because they're allowed to marry up to 4 wives. So how now cheating technically?
No, but then also the community in itself
Yes.
looks down on cheating.
Yes.
Yeah, like guys, if you can
Yes.
change your community and your culture,
Yes.
you've changed the people.
Yes, absolutely. I hear this where I don't think it's the same in black culture. There's this unwritten rule. A friend of mine was telling me that she complained to the husband's aunts to say your son is cheating. And the aunts then, talk to them together like, no, guys, don't do this. You guys have kids. You guys need to focus on the family, reprimanding him. And then said, can you please stay and chat with Magoti? Asked the husband to leave. Then they said, then why aren't you getting yourself a little something? You're looking at our son too much.
Wow.
Those things.
Wow.
But just what you're talking about, culture. What are the elders saying? What's everybody around you saying? What's the conversations being had? And definitely you can say in black culture, it's definitely been normalized that men cheat. Men cheat.
I have to say this though, because we were called out. I think we were low-key called out by all the people who were saying, look at Limpopo. So I felt like that was such a
For context, with the South Africans don't get married episode. Once again, I'm cutting that sentence very short. When we talked about marriage and then we discussed the element of fewer South Africans getting married, people kept saying, what about Limpopo?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're like every weekend.
No, that I felt like that was a very good call out. Like they were calling us out on the fact that we're not acknowledging. So I'm saying let's be very careful on saying black culture. Because there are cultures even within South Africa that marriage is a very big
thing and
Very big
and
thing.
something to be honored and what yes.
Yes.
I hear you. I absolutely hear you. And we'll never finish it, but definitely I understood the part where if we lived in this utopia where men could be held accountable and women could be protected, how nice it would be to have one person in the family who just looks at the kids, looks at the household, you know,
and the other one
brings in the bacon.
Yes.
How nice that system really is, but it just doesn't work out like that.
And then we're going to close off with a very interesting comment.
So many comments. Are we done?
I wanna address these comments. Like, guys, the number of people that were like Penuel really I loved how he was responding to people who were negative towards him. Like the number of people, I remember a comment saying, "You're having the right conversation with the wrong person."
The one comment, they were like 5 million. Let's say.
There's a lot. There's a lot. I think we all acknowledge Penuel is a very controversial person,
yes.
right? I mean, I think it's something that he has become comfortable with, being a controversial figure online. It's just that we've had conversations with him off and on camera where there's certain things that he said and you're like, oh, that's actually very interesting, right? And this is not to take away from whatever issues you personally have with Penuel, but we're just saying, Guti, one of the reasons we felt it's interesting to facilitate a conversation with him is like there's a certain dynamic. I feel, this is me personally, there's a certain dynamic within South Africa that he represents that perhaps the rest of us feel like needs to be left within the outskirts of society.
Don't you think though that is anybody with a polarizing as in it's always extreme left or extreme right, but those people are necessary, and those people are usually the people that change the direction of how we see things now. It's always somebody who says, no, I'm not compromising. I said what I said. You know, and what I thought about it this week, I thought the only people that have really been given the privilege to do things like that are artists. I don't know what made me think about that. I was in the shower and I thought about how if you're a musician, you can say the most ludicrous out of this world things and still be a billionaire.
Yes.
And in fact, your music sales could even go
like
up.
Kanye West just became number one in 17 countries.
Exactly.
One day.
Exactly. You know, I thought of Kanye West and then I also thought of the Bohemian Rhapsody guy, Queen, the lead singer of Queen.
I don't know his name.
He was one of the first openly gay, just somebody, but he didn't start off gay. He started off just wearing women's clothes on stage, and he's like a rock star. That was like, and I think in the 70s or 60s, like a really long time ago, when it wasn't okay to do that, you know. And so, like, I just thought about how somehow musicians are really given this freedom. You know, there's a video of Whitney Houston talking about how she doesn't do crack, she does cocaine.
Yeah, crack is for poor people.
Yeah, I make too much money, you know. But it's such a problematic thing that she's saying, and people are replaying it, people are laughing. Brenda Fassie has one where I sing to him. I sing, you know which video I'm talking about? I can't even say the rest of it, it's so embarrassing. It's dirty, it's vile. And I said, you know, musicians really, not that they have it easy, but they have such freedom of expression. They can say these really polarizing statements and we all forgive them because at the end of the day, we enjoy their music so much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I can imagine Adele could probably say some wild stuff and I'm probably still good. People are defending listening to R. Kelly's music.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
There's something about musicians.
I was thinking of exactly that.
There's something about musicians that the music is so good that we will still defend them with throughout their problematic, what we deem problematic or whatever. So I just thought about it. I said, you know, the only way out is to be a musician.
To say what you want.
To say what you really want. Because then people give you right of like freedom of artistic expression and whatnot, and they will still support you because the music is so damn good. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, like I said, we're going to close off with an interesting one. Usfiso Artist Gumbi says, ngaze ngamthanda umuntu omdala bakwethu Khuzani.
I didn't expect you to share that comment.
Ngaze ngamthanda umuntu omdala bakwethu Khuzani.
Kena umuntu omdala kana girlfriend.
Oh, is it you?
Yes.
Oh wow. Which episode was that?
It's a short.
Oh,
it's a short. Oh, and actually a very old short.
Oh yes, and
you
it's
still
just
have short
me.
hair.
You'll just pop that up.
Yo.
Oh my gosh, that was very funny. I don't know, they're probably Gen Z, but I love to say Kinna Muntom Dala.
Omdala.
When did I get that? First of all, guys, I'm not that old. But I wondered, how old are they? Because they repeated it even on another video. They were like, Tusang, but in Zulu, Tusang. Could this young boy is just like, this is wrong, this lady's too old.
This is an old woman.
It is so funny.
Yeah, no, that was the perfect one to
Yes.
end on.
What's their name?
Sifiso Hottest Gumbi.
Sfiso Kumi ngicela ungangiphapheli ne.
Akimuntu omdala.
He's still in your youth.
I'm telling you. But one thing I've really seen, that you definitely age without seeing it.
Yes.
Yeah, no, yeah. I
You age
totally
without
get
seeing it,
you.
because I've always called myself spring chicken because I'm 10 years younger than my friend and her best friend. And as a result, I've always seen myself as extremely young. And the other day, once again carrying on with this I'm extremely young thing, my sister then said, it's a bit played out. Like, you're not extremely young anymore.
Oh, wow.
I am older.
But you're not
extremely-
young.
Extremely, you're no longer. And then I really reflected on, like, I've actually lived quite a full life. You know, I think of my first date in first year and how many dates I've had since then. And
Now,
like,
Umuntu Omdala starting I feel like this is now
Reflection.
An episode. I feel
but
like this
I
is an
really
episode.
did realize that, I had a moment to say, then I'm growing. You know, for some reason, somehow we stay at 18. You know, for a long time, I still felt very close to my first year. I don't know, somehow first year is the marker.
Yeah.
Then I realized I'm actually really far
Yep.
from that thing.
Yep.
Especially when I hit 12 years out of school. 12 years out of school was
Imagine.
like, I've been out of school at the same time, because grade 1 to grade 12 felt
12
very
years.
long.
Yes,
Exactly.
the same
So
number
the
of
fact
years
that
you're
I'm
in
post
school.
grade 1 to grade 12 out of school, I
Exactly.
said, wow.
Exactly.
I've actually been at it for a while, you know. So.
Yep.
Siso maybe ngimuntu omdala. Kwazi bani. And the reason alone sizokhuluma isiZulu.
Yeah, sizoyenza i-episode sikhuluma isiZulu.
Nifuna i-episode ba mawubonga nami sikhuluma isiZulu.
Uzwa nje sowufeyilile.
Sekufeyile ini.
Umuphile zonke.
For the sake of context, these two are competing as to who knows how to speak Zulu better than the other.
I'm not in competition with anyone.
No, mara
She's not competition.
nisitshele. Angikho i-competition mina.
Next.
Bona nix yini. Asizulu lena.
Luto.
Given ubani wazi isiZulu phakathi kwami nomoya.
Let's just-
given
Okay,
Guys, comment section.
nisitshele
Comment section.
ngama-comment
Ngicela
section.
nitshele iqiniso ukuthi
Ukuthi?
ubonga usound engathi uphuma straight
Nyayala shem.
emagcekeni
Nyayala.
akaradebe or khumalo or bani mtsheleni.
Mina ningangifaki.
Mina ngingakwaZulu.
Yo, I.
No, honestly guys, nisitshele iqiniso there, because nami ngicabanga ukuthi ngiyasazi ukungcono kubonga.
Uyadlala lo muntu.
Okay, that was today's episode of the Conversation Capital. Thank you so much for supporting us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you tell your friends, your grandma, tell everybody and their best friend about TCC. Thank you for all the support and love. For now, though, goodbye and God bless.